Hey everybody, thanks for taking a look at my video and trying to help out. So I purchased this setup used from another gentleman. It's a 9-foot by 5-foot setup with essentially 2 loops and a kind of a directional switcher here, and then a little bit of a siding. It's all DCC and works pretty well. There's a few areas that need to be cleaned up in terms of connections with some solder and things like that. But the main issue I'm having is just something that kind of popped up. So, and the issue is with switches. So I have, I believe 8 or 9 switches on here. They're all controlled with the Tortoise setup, and that was working pretty well. Oh, there's a few switches that are controlled with the manual guy. But other than that, they're all controlled with the Tortoise. Anyway, the Tortoise has been working pretty well. It's all connected. I've got my my power system here. You can see that. Got my little Digitrax, DCS 100. I think this is power distribution here. I'm actually not sure. And then all these Digitrax little control centers. There's 3 of those. And I believe these are the ones that send the power out to the switches. And they were 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to I believe up to 12. Although I'm not using all of them. Or maybe that's 9 and 10. Anywho, so they were all working until a couple days ago, and now when I try to make them work, half of them work and half don't. So the ones that are coming from here work just fine, and that's switches 5 through 8. The ones from here, 1 through 4, don't work. Instead, what they do is kind of like a so I put it on T, put it on C, but it doesn't really move. I can just hear it thinking about moving a little bit. I can move them just fine with my hand, although I'm trying not to do that more than once or twice, just to test and make sure the gears are free. But they won't move normally. Now the other switches, like the ones that are wired into the other control module, they work just fine. So I'm trying to figure out if something might happen. Could one of these guys have burnt out? Because it seems to be related to one specific kind of a command module. The other thing that's of note is that, and the fellow that I purchased this from mentioned this as well. He said that when he would turn the power on, the power strip here, and this would be off, that all the switches would move. And then when you turn the command or the power supply on here, that some of them would move back to their assigned setup, based on where they're supposed to be. So, and he said that was kind of weird, and it did that for a long time as I used it. But then when this issue popped up of the switches not working, it no longer made that sound. So when I would turn it on here, it wouldn't work, or I wouldn't. The switches wouldn't all move. So that's a change that occurred prior to, or along with me having this issue of half the switches not working. Anyway, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on and if there's any suggestions for what I should check. Like, should I, try taking these out of here and, maybe rewiring them over there to see if the switches work? And then maybe replacing this module with a different one, like maybe this one over here, because I don't think I'm actually using that one. It just has a few switches going into it. Things like that. Or is there a way to reset? It looks like with all of them the green light is on, so that should be a good sign, but I'm not really sure what to do. So looking for insight. By the way, if it helps, Digitrax is the setup that I have.